So that is the website for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarships. So we will go through each of these sections that you are seeing, from the overview to how to apply, to supporting documentation, advice for applicants, and then choosing the university or the course. And then we look at some applicant eligibility for you to know if you are eligible to apply for the scholarship. And then we look at some eligible countries. And then we will go through a systematic approach, step by step, how to finish an application for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. I'll be giving some examples, give you some insights on how to write your essays as well. So the selection process, how you can position yourself to be able to go through the necessary documentation, submission, and all the essays for you to be selected. And then we will look at the tenure and placement, and then finally look at the financial assistance that you stand to get if you are to win the scholarship. So let's look at the overview. I'm not sure you'll be able to have a look at all the information on my screen, but then I'll try and do my best if you can read everything. So yeah, the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is one of the master's programs offered by the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission. As well, at the moment, is joint approach from the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission and provides the UK government with all the international developmental projects. So the Commonwealth Scholarship and Fellowship Plan as well, they are one of the bodies that are supporting this idea. And the basic purpose for this scholarship is to be able to contribute to the developmental needs of Commonwealth countries by providing training for skilled and qualified professionals and academics who would not otherwise have been able to study in the UK. So basically, it's for anyone who would not be able to afford the tuition fees and all the expenses for the education in the UK. And so this opportunity is for anyone who is interested to be able to come to the UK and then complete their master's degree. And so the intended beneficiaries, high quality postgraduate students from least developed and middle income countries. So including fragile and conflict affected states, and who have not studied or had at least 1 year of working experience in the UK. So these are some of the things that we need to consider as well. So the duration, like I said, is normally 12 months. And then the application process. So UK universities who will be interested to at least, for every year, when they open their scholarship window, some universities would come forth and then tell you that they want to be part of the scholarship. So for every year, some universities are constant, but some other years they may back off. So universities within the UK with specific courses, so the universities will suggest the specific courses that they want to bring forth for the scholarship. So in the short while, we will be looking at the universities that are approved to be part of this scholarship. So applications are made via successful universities, which make the initial selection. So if you are wondering how you're going to be selected for the scholarship, the universities that you are applying for admissions, looking at your grades and looking at your application you've made, they will ensure that they put your name forth to at least explain to Commonwealth Shared Scholarship that they've looked at your grades and your scholarship application. They want to consider you for the scholarship. So the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship should give you the scholarship. And so if you are making an application just for the scholarship, make sure that you're also putting yourself in a position that once they go through your admissions application, they will not be able to, they will at least go ahead and put you in the front for anyone who is making the application. So looking at how to apply for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. This is what we need to know. So applications, just I mentioned, it's been open and it's closing by Thursday, 12th of December, 4 p.m. So we have at least 3 or 4 weeks to go to be able to complete this application. And this is where you're going to make the application. It says applications to the CSE must made using the CSE online application system. So once you click on there, this is what is going to open for you to create an account. So you select your country of residence, and then you click on next, and then it will ask you to create an account. But because I've already created an account, that is why it's giving me my email and my password for me to just log in. So we'll come back to this application portal to discuss how to go about with the application. Now let's look at the supporting documents that we need. So you need to be in an eligible Commonwealth country, and so you need to have a valid passport with a photograph, a date of birth, and then country of citizenship. This will be the only way you can prove that you are residing in one of the Commonwealth countries. And next thing that they require you to have is the full transcript that is detailing all higher education qualifications, including up-to-date transcripts from any of the courses that you've studied. And also, if it is not in English, you should have it translated in English. So it says where any transcripts are missing or you do not include all the pages, the application will not be considered. So that's one of the things that you need to also keep in your mind when you are going about with the application. And this is boldly written here. The Commonwealth Shared Commission will not accept supporting documentation submitted outside the online system. The online system we just looked at. If you fail to make your application through this online system, you will be rejected. Now let's look at the advice for applicants. These are all information that are very important that we need to notice before we go ahead and make any mistakes in our application. So let me open advice for applicants. So this helps to answer a lot of questions that you may be having. Let's see if I can increase it a bit. I'm still not able to. Okay. So eligibility and required documentation. It appears to little. We will look at that in a minute. Selection criteria. So this is what I wanted us to take a look at. Selection criteria. So we can consider this to be maybe the marking scheme or what they are going to be looking at in selecting an applicant for the scholarship. And the first one that they are looking at is the academic merit. So that means that your examination results, your academic transcripts, and then your tutors, referees, their reports that they are going to be sending will be the primary indicators that they are going to use in giving you the scholarship. So at the moment, if you are thinking of maybe selecting or letting someone know that you're about to go on with scholarships, and so they should come and send in reference or referees that you want them to send in reference letters for you, you should be considering the person that you are going to select or you are going to invite them, because it's going to play a huge role in your selection process. So examination results, academic transcript, tutors, and then referees report. That is the primary indicators that they are using in giving you the scholarship. So secondary indicators will be if you have any academic prizes or any other relevant academic achievements over the years. And if you have any publications, you can also at least put you a bit ahead of any other person. So at least have, if you have a publication, if you don't, that is not a big deal. And the next thing that they are looking at, so we are not considering this portion because it's for just research proposal for doctoral scholarships, but we are looking at the masters. So this is saying the quality of study plans. So in this application, there is a section that you would have to write an essay explaining how you intend to go about with your study plan, what you intend to learn, the skills you intend to acquire, how you intend to use that in improving anything that is going wrongly in your community at the moment. So primary indicators that you are looking at in terms of the quality of study plans would be statement of what the candidate wants to learn and how it relates to the objectives. So in your essay, you need to state that you have this aim, you have this objective, and this is how you're going to go about with your essay. So we will look at that and expand on that extensively. And then extent to which proposed course and institution of study have been well researched. So you'll be telling them that you know more about the school, you know more about the course, and you know some specific skills and knowledge that you intend to gain from the course. So these are the things that they will be looking at for the primary indicators. And then the secondary indicators, they will be looking at existing offer of admission to the course, and then clarity of presentation. So how you're going to write out your essay and present it. And if you have at least made an application, admissions application to the university, if you do not or have not gained admission or have not applied to the school, there is no way they can give you the scholarship. So you need to make application to the specific university and gain admission in the next year when the scholarship is about to begin. And then the last indicator that they will look at is the development impact. So with the development impact, the primary indicators they are looking at is the extent of the need and how the plan of study or research relates to the development in the sector and country. So you're going to tell them that this is the specific problem or need that you've identified in your community. So they're going to weigh that and measure to see if it's indeed a need that is pressing need that we need to sponsor your education for you to gain knowledge or the skill to be able to go and resolve that. And then expected outcomes. They'll look at what the expected outcomes would be if you are to gain that knowledge and go back to your home country to improve on that specific problem you've identified. So the projected time frame to achieve them, and then the potential beneficiaries. If it's a pressing need that they need to at least give you the scholarship, so after 1 year you go back and within few months you can begin something on it. In the next few years you can also project to do something on it. Then they believe that the outcome will be greater, and so they need to give you this scholarship. And then the way and extent to which the candidate proposes. So the question, please, how will you know this university is offering that scholarship? Okay, so we will look at that shortly. But these are the indicators or the grading system that they are going to be looking at to grade your essays. And so it's important for you to know them before you go ahead and write out your essays. So the secondary indicators, so reference to any national developmental priority or capacity shortage. It can be that there is something that is ongoing in your community or global concerns, and you've been able to identify that. So they will look at that extent, how you've thought about that globally, and now looking at the national and then the local level, how you're going to write out the essays for it to make sense to them. And then reference to the selected CSE theme. So there are some themes that we need to know. There are 6 themes that the scholarship is based around. So we need to be aware of these themes and how we're going to write our essays to be able to make sense to the Commonwealth Scholarship Committee. And then the extent of the benefit, how the impact of the work might be measured. So in the essays, one of the essays, you'll be telling them how you will go about with the project that you intend to go back and implement, and then how you're going to measure them over the course of the short term, the medium term, and then the long term. So you need to explain clearly to them how you plan to do that. And then past demonstrable commitment to development agendas through voluntary work. If you have at least initiated a community project apart from your normal workload or your work description, they would see about that to know that you're already undertaking these things. And so if they give you the scholarship, you're just going to extend what you're already doing. And so that will also push them for them to give you the scholarship. And then leading or participating in relevant projects or programs. So please, how many essays would we be writing in all? I just heard you say in one of the essays. Yeah, so I think the essays, there are about 9 of those essays, but then they are quite shorter. Some are just 250 words, others are just 100 words. And so we will be looking at all of that with an example. And then you will also be asked to submit a personal statement as well. So together with the personal statement, it's about 11 essays that we're going to submit. But then it's quite easy. 100 words, 150, maximum 250 words. So this is just the grading assessment or the grading system for the assessment of applications. So if we are planning to at least be selected for the scholarship, this is the only thing that helped me for me to make my application. I spent some time to go through what they will be using to grade me and then try to make sure that the essays I've written is tailored just to meet it. So now let's go back to the portal. Let's go back to the portal. Also, are we to meet other requirements or assessment or specific ones depending on the policy you are aiming for? Are we supposed to meet other requirements? So the requirements, the basic requirements that you need to meet will be for you to make an application to the specific university, and then for you to apply at the scholarship portal. And then the other one will be for you to be able to write out the essays to meet what they expect. Those are the requirements that they will be looking at. So the other question that was asked earlier, choosing the university, I mean the indicators you just, okay, so with the indicators, they are looking at it in the overall sense. So if you are able to highlight all of them, it will make your essays stand apart from anyone who is just going to write out anything and just think of being selected. And I know a lot of people are not aware of these indicators. They will just write out the essays and go ahead with it. But then if you are able to tailor your essays to at least highlight some of the things in the indicators, yes, you will stand a better chance of winning the scholarship. Just as the way I did mine. And so these are the universities. Let me show you. Okay, so go back to how to apply and then look at view the full list of approved courses and then view the details of participating UK universities. So you click on view the full list of approved courses and then this is what is going to come up. You're going to see the universities. Let me see. Yeah. So the themes that I was talking about. So you look on top of the screen. It says that the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship are offered under the 6 Commonwealth Commission's development themes. So these themes that you see will be what they will be looking at for each of the selected course or application that you make. So for every application, you will be selecting 3 of these themes. However, it's just going to be one of the schools or the courses that you'll be selecting for the application. And so looking at these, just go through. I think I said a bit earlier that if you're planning to make this application, try to spend some time to look at all of these courses and the universities that are offering these courses and identify your interest. If you can identify a few of those interests, list them down if you're able to list them down, you can now visit each of the university's websites, read the course content, see how the skills that you're looking for can be identified over there. So I can't apply for 3 schools under one theme. I can't apply for 3 schools under one theme. So you can apply for as many as you want. You can apply for any, just that for every application, they will ask you to select 3 of these themes that are a bit related to the course that you've selected. So one most important thing that we need to be aware is that you can apply for as many of these scholarships as you want. Just that when the scholarship tenure is up and you've been selected, you can only select one of the scholarship you'll be given, so that other people will also be given the rest. So you can make as many applications as you want, but for every application you make, you will be forced, or you will be asked to select 3 themes that are related to the application you are making. I hope that answers your question. So spend some time if you are interested in looking at this specific theme, so promoting innovation and entrepreneurship. You now check the courses and then the universities that are offering that, and then you make notes of those, and then you go ahead and make all the necessary applications. So there are a lot of universities, there are a lot of courses. Just go through it, select as many of the courses as you can and the schools that are offering the courses, and then we will be looking at some of the important things that you need to be aware of these courses once you've selected them. So that is on that part. Let's go back. So now let's look at the applicant's eligibility. So to be considered for this scholarship, applicants must be a citizen or have granted refugee status by an eligible Commonwealth country. So find yourself in any of the Commonwealth countries, or be a citizen of any of the Commonwealth countries, and that is the first ticket for you to be able to go ahead and make this application. The next one, and be available to start academic studies in the UK by the start of the UK academic year in September 2025. So the scholarship, the admissions that you are making, it should begin next year, September 2025. So if you are gaining at the admission now, or if you are making any application for admissions now, the course should be starting next year, 2025. I'm sorry about that. So if you are making the application now for admissions, ensure that the course is starting next year, September 2025. And then by September 2025, at least you should hold a first degree of at least upper second class honors, or a lower second class degree, and a relevant postgraduate qualification, usually a master's degree. But this is not what they are looking for. They want you to at least have a first degree and at least have a second class upper. So if you have a first class, that is great. What is going to happen is that a lot of people are going to be applying for the scholarship. So if you have a better grade and you're able to write out your essays, at least it's going to position you quite well than any other person. And this is what we also need to also take into consideration. Not have studied or worked for more than one academic year or more in a high income country. So if you're currently in the UK and you intend to make this application, you should be here and have not studied more than one academic year, and also not have worked in a high income country like the UK or any other country that is considered a high income country, and not have worked at least 1 year also. And I will be unable to afford to study in the UK without the scholarship. So when we are about to write our essays, we will look at how we're going to discuss that, for the scholarship committee to read and know that without this scholarship, we are unable to come to the UK and study. And then have provided supporting documentation in the required format. So the requirements that we read, that we need to have our international passport and also have our transcript. These are the recommended supporting documentation that they want to see. So have them ready to submit. Okay, so there's one thing that we also have to be aware. There is no age limit for CSE applications. So if you are making this scholarship application, there is no age limit for that. Applicants are advised to confirm with their employers any age restrictions to leave on entitlements they may have in place. So if you are in a working class and you intend to leave your job to apply for the scholarship to come and do your master's, then you may have to consider having a conversation with your employer to tell them that you're going to relocate to do your master's once you are granted the scholarship, and so they should put something in place. So eligible countries, these are the countries that are eligible to apply for the Commonwealth Scholarship. So please note that only applicants from the eligible countries listed below can apply for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarships. So it's time for us to check if you can find your country in there. So Bangladesh, Belize, Botswana, Cameroon, Dominica, Eswatini, Fiji, and Gabon, Ghana, Grenada, and then Guyana, India, Jamaica, Kenya, Kiribati, Lesotho, Malawi, Malaysia, Maldives, Mauritius. So these are all the countries listed here. So let's spend some time, go through all these to see if your country is in there, then you can go ahead and make the application for this scholarship. So Tanzania, the Gambia, Togo, Uganda, Zambia, Nigeria, Pakistan, every country in here, you can go ahead and make your application. And now there is an advice, or there is an information given to us on how we can go about to complete the application form. That is the online application portal. So the first thing is for us to know that we will be asked to list all undergraduate and postgraduate university qualifications obtained. So if you have more than one undergraduate, or if you've done a postgraduate study and you have the qualifications with you, then you can go ahead and list them when you are asked. And then list up to 10 publications and prizes. I know a lot of people come to ask, if I don't have any publications, how do I go about it? That is not to worry. If you do not have any publications, I know a lot of people who submitted without any publication but got the scholarship. So you can go ahead and then leave that blank if you do not have any publication. Or if you have won any prizes whilst you were doing your undergraduate studies, you can list them, whether you were the outstanding student, whether you were the best student in an academic year or a specific subject, you can list them. And then provide details of employment history and explain how the experience gained support and is relevant to the program to be undertaken in the UK. So you may be in the working class, and so you would be asked to list out the details of your employment. So if you've done your work for, let's say, 6 months, or if you've done for 1 year, then you can list out and then discuss what the skills you currently have and then what you are missing, such that if you will be given the scholarship, you can add that to the skills and the knowledge you know to improve what your job organization is currently seeking for from you. And then the next one is list the names and positions of 3 referees who are qualified to comment on both their capacity to benefit from their proposed scholarship in the UK and the ability to deliver development impact. So it is important for you to know who you are selecting as your referees, because they would at least have to have known you for at least 6 months, and then they need to be able to comment on your capacity to benefit from this scholarship, and then ability to deliver the development impact. You may have done that before. What's going on? I don't know, facing some challenges. Not sure where that's coming from. But can you hear me? Okay, back to it. So yeah, just as I was saying, so there's a question: if your only work experience is national service, do you include? Yes. So national service, go ahead and include your national service. I know a lot of people who are doing their rotational national service when they applied for the scholarship and they got the scholarship. So you do not have to have like a special work experience apart from your national service. Any work experience right from your after your education count towards this work experience. And so just as I was saying about the referees, they should be in a capacity to be able to discuss that you have the ability to be able to benefit from the scholarship, and also you have a track record of some of the developmental projects that you've done or engaged in. And then one of the referees must be a current employer if applicable. So this only applies if you are currently in the working class. And these are the essays that they'll be asking you. So you need to provide a development impact statement in 4 parts. And the 4 parts, the first one is, in the first part, applicants should explain how the proposed scholarship relates to development issues at the global, national, and local level. So we look at how to go about this specific essay, and then development issues connected to the chosen Commonwealth Commission's development theme and wider sector. This is where the importance for us knowing the themes selected for the scholarship is needed. And then the second part should explain how they intend to apply the new skills once scholarship ends. So for you to be able to mention to them that you are coming to do this master's, and after your master's you'll be gaining these skills, you'll be gaining this knowledge. And once you return to your home country, this is how you're going to utilize these skills that you've gained. And then the third part should outline what they expect will change in the development terms following the scholarship, including the outcomes that they aim to achieve, the time frame for the implementation, and who the beneficiaries will be. So this is one of the scholarships we will be writing, the essays, that we will be writing. So we will mention the aim that we intend to go back to our home country to implement our skills to achieve, and then the time frame, the short term, the long term, the medium term, and then the specific identified problem and who the beneficiaries will be. We will look at explaining to the committee that these are the beneficiaries that we want to go and implement this project. And then the fourth part of the essay, participants should write about how impact of their work could best be measured. So this is where you'll be talking to them about progress indicators or indexes that you'll be using to measure if there is progress in the project that you intend to go about. So you tell them that this particular project, I will look at this to know that there's been improvement or not. And so you tell them how exactly you will be looking at it. And then applicants are also asked to confirm what their award objectives are and how each of them will be met by the scholarship program. So the aims and then the objectives. Aim is the overall goal that you want to achieve. The objectives will be the specific set goals that you want to achieve along the line before you can achieve the specific aim. And then confirm what their career plans are for the 5 years following scholarship. So 5 years after your scholarship, what do you intend to do within those 5 years? We will look at an example of that, and then confirm their long-term career plans. After 5 to 10 years, 15 years, what do you intend to do? And then provide a detailed plan of study. How do you want to go about with your study? Do you even know the course that you want to study? Are you aware of what skill, what knowledge that you're going to gain in that course? And then provide a detailed plan of study, provide personal statements. So for personal statements, there's something indicated that I want us to notice. It says provide a personal statement to summarize ways in which their personal background has encouraged them to want to make an impact in their home country. So have you gone through any hardship? Have you been exposed to any difficulties throughout your life in your education? You would need to list them, or you need to discuss them in there. And so every applicant would have a unique story. So it's time for you to sell yourself to the scholarship committee, for them to know that although you've gone through all the difficult times, but then you were still able to obtain a good grade for your undergraduate studies, and you want to do more. So applicants may wish to highlight any areas where they have already made significant contributions. So maybe after your studies, you've started some significant projects, maybe gone back to your community to at least do a very small project. Can be health talks, it can be anything. So those are the things that you can highlight for them to know that although going through the difficult times, you've gained the knowledge, you've gained the skills in your undergraduate studies, and now you've come back in the community to give back. They want to know that you are a person who is willing to give back to the community. And then summarize the ways in which they have engaged in voluntary activities and the opportunities they have had to demonstrate leadership. So we will be looking at the last essay, where we will use a specific approach for you to go about writing your leadership style, and what leadership role you've gone through, and how you've maybe volunteered for some activities within your community. And so that will be how we will be writing our essays. So let's look at the selection process, and then we will go through the application process step by step to the last essay, and then we will I'll open up to see if anyone would have any specific questions with so for those who only have the degree in national service, could you please help us frame how to present the last point you just definitely. So anything after, or anything that is not part of your job description that you've done, it can be, let's say, going back to do a seminar, or going back to do a health talk within your church, within maybe gathering a few community people around. It's just all about how you're going to deliver it, or how you're going to talk about it in your essay. So we will look at an example of that. So selection process. Each participating UK university will conduct its own recruitment process to select the specified number of candidates to be awarded the Commonwealth Shared Scholarships, and put these forward to the Commonwealth Shared Commission. So for all the universities that you will be making the application to, they will look at the number of candidates who are applying for that specific scholarship and the course. And then they will look at it and tell you that these are the ones that we want to give the scholarship to. And so they will send all those information to the Commonwealth Shared Commission. And the scholarship committee, after reading your documents and after reading your essays, they will not get back to the university and inform them that you provided these 4 candidates, but we are going to give to these 2. And so you need to make sure that you are impressing the university that you are making your application to, and you're also impressing the Commonwealth Shared Scholarships Committee. So just as it stated here, the CSA will then confirm that these candidates meet the eligibility criteria for the program. And then the applications will be considered according to, so just as we looked at the grading system, academic merits, the quality of the, so this research proposal is just mostly for the PhD, it's not for masters. And then the potential impact on the development of the candidate's home country, supposed to be home, not come country. And so the tenure and placements. So scholarships are made in respect of full-time study only. So you cannot win the scholarship and decide to do a part-time study. So if you are making the admissions, try to ensure that the admissions that you're making is for a full-time study only. And then candidates must take the necessary steps to apply for, so just as is stated here, candidates must take the necessary steps to apply for admission to the preferred university. So many courses have strict admissions deadlines, and candidates should check admissions requirements carefully when applying. So Commonwealth Shared Scholarship do not have any hand in you getting the admissions. You would have to make sure that you are getting your admission and then you are making the application for the scholarship. So these are the things that you will benefit when you are being given the scholarship, the financial assistance. So first of all, you'll be given approved airfare from the scholar's home country. So if you are only from one of the Commonwealth eligible countries, approved airfare, flight tickets will be given to you. And on your return of the award, at the end of the award. So once you are done with your master's, you will also be provided the flight tickets for you to return back to your home country. And then the Commonwealth will not reimburse the cost of fares for dependents, nor the cost of journeys made before the award is confirmed. And so, if you are to bring your dependents, so let's say your partner, your kids, know that Commonwealth Scholarship will only pay for your flight tickets. The rest you would have to afford, you have to fund for it yourself. And so approved tuition fees will be covered. So when you are making the application, check the tuition fees as well. Some fees are over £16,000, others are over £24,000. Everything will be covered by the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship Committee. And so scholars are not liable to pay any part of the tuition fees. So if you make an application, admissions application to a university and they ask you to pay part of the tuition fee, you would need to write back to them to inform them that you've applied for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship scholarship. And so if they are asking you to pay that for them to give you an unconditional offer, you have to reply to them to let them know that you've actually applied for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. I know some universities will tell you that before we give you an unconditional offer, you would need to pay a part of your fees. Inform them that you've already applied for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. So you do not need to pay for the part of the fees. And the next one, you will be given stipend. So stipend will be monthly funds that will be sent to you for you to use for your upkeep. And so at the rate of 1,378 per month. And then if any of the universities that you'll be selected for will be in the London metropolitan area, you will be given 1,690 per month. So this will be received every month throughout your 12 months for your master's. You will also be given warm clothing allowance as well. So in the UK, the weather is a bit cold, and so you will be given some clothing allowance for you to get all those jackets. And then if your thesis requires for you to pay any fees or any money, the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship will also cover that. And then study travel grant towards the cost of study-related travel within the UK overseas. So if within your course, you would have to go for any internships or you'd have to do any travel within the UK as part of your studies, the scholarship will cover that as well. And so before you make your visa application, you would have to go through the mandatory TB test. So assuming your program is a 2 years, what happens for the other 1 year or most of the eligible programs? Yes, so that is right. The second part of your question is right. So most of the eligible programs are just for 1 year. It's only 12 months masters. So you will be doing a TB test before you go ahead and apply for your visa. So the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship will also cater for that as well, but they will not pay it beforehand. You would have to come to the UK, and then they will give you a form for you to fill everything, and then you send it back and then receive back your expenses that you spent on that. So once you start to go through those process, try to keep all your receipts, because those are the things that you will use to regain or to recoup your funds. And then if a scholar is having children and is widow, divorced or single parents, there will be child allowance. And that child allowance is around £590 per month for the first child. And then the second child will be 146 for the second one. And then a child for the second and third. So the first one will receive £590 per month. And then the second and third, if you have 3 children, then they will receive 146. So that together with the 590 will be what you receive every single month within the time of your study. And that is only when they are living with you in the same address in the UK. And so if a scholar shares that they have a disability, a full assessment of their needs and eligibility for additional financial support will be offered. So if you have any disability that you may need extra funds, it is going to be covered by the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. And so I believe that we have extensively answered some of the questions we may have had already. And so there are some general conditions or general information that we need to be aware of as well. So one of them is that I know someone asked me earlier if it is important for them to go and write an IELTS, English Language Proficiency Test. So the CSE, if you are making the application, you do not require any IELTS to go about with the application. However, if the university that you are making the admissions application requires you to submit an IELTS, I believe you can go about in several ways to prove that you are proficient in English. And one is using your, if you've done your West African examination, or if you've done any basic English, you can prove that you are able to speak and you are fluent or you understand English. So they can waive that English proficiency test for you. So IELTS is not a requirement for you to go about with this application. And one more thing, and so candidates will be required to sign an undertaking to return to their home country as soon as possible after the end of the award. So this is one of the things you need to also consider as well. You may be asked to return, or you will be asked to return to your home country once you are done with your masters. So that should be that. We can go ahead and look at look at how to go about with the essays. But if anyone do have a specific question, so if anyone is having a specific question, I would want to answer those questions before we jump on to look at an example of the essay. Is there any medical insurance? Yeah, so everything is covered for. Everything about your travel is covered for. So normally when you are traveling, you have to pay for the medical health surcharge. But the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship covers everything about your health insurance. So all you need to do is pack your things and then come and study and be given stipend at the end of every month for your upkeep. throughout your 12 months of master's program. Are there any other specific questions? Okay, if there are none, let's look at some of the feedback from the selection panel to guide us in writing our essays. So this is from the scholarship panel. Let's see if I can position it well. Do my best to explain it well so that we all can hear. So below is some feedback and advice from the Commonwealth Scholarship selection panels, which may be helpful when completing an application form for a Commonwealth Scholarship. So in terms of the academic merit, successful applicants are those with strong academic grades at both undergraduate or, where relevant, postgraduate level. So I believe that if you have good grades, you stand a chance to be part of those who will be selected. And then many have first-class honors undergraduate degree or distinction at master's level. So you're going to be competing against people with higher grades as well. And then while applicants with upper second-class undergraduate degrees or past master's level do receive scholarship, these scholarships are highly competitive. That's one thing that we need to be aware, that Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is highly competitive. So looking at all the eligible countries that we looked at, there will be thousands of applications from all of these countries. And so to be selected for this scholarship, then it means that you've actually gone by and made sure you've proven to them that you actually deserve it. So that's the reason why we are looking at all of this information to guide our application. And exactly how I went about with my application and got the fully funded scholarship. And next one is that we understand that external factors can impact a candidate's academic performance. So if there is any reason why you were unable to perform or had good grades, then within your personal statement, which we will be looking at, then you spend a lot of time to at least highlight those difficulties that prevented you from making the good grades. And then when it comes to the impact of proposed work on development, these are the things that the panel have spoken about. The selection committee places great emphasis on the case made by applicants on how the proposed work will have impact on development when they return. And so you have to identify a problem within a community and maybe in your personal life as well. However, they look at the greater impact that it can have on community or the society. And then how will that impact help? That is what they will be looking at. If you're able to prove to them that indeed you will be able to have make an impact in your community, you stand a chance of. So a brief statement written in development impact section is unlikely to be a convincing as well-crafted argument that uses full word count available. So do not try just short sentences or just bullet points and expect them to have a full understanding of what you mean. That will not guarantee your success. And then some applicants focus on how Commonwealth would help them to become personally successful, rather than on how their work can specifically contribute to development in their home country. So if you are going to be discussing about yourself, how you're going to be successful in winning the scholarship, if you are being personal, then you stand a chance of not winning the scholarship. They want to see the community impact, the developmental impact that you can make. And then there are many ways in which development can be defined. And Commonwealth Shared Scholarship do not seek to impose a specific definition on applicants. So, however, it is important that applicants demonstrate how specific projects contribute to the development objectives. So be very specific. I want to do A, B, and C so that this will improve this in my community. That is how we will be writing the essay. And then in terms of the study research plan, applicants who are unclear and vague about what they intend to do, or who write using overly technical language, are likely to score poorly regardless of the content. So we will not be using overly technical knowledge or overly technical words, acronyms and all that. We will refrain from that. We will be stating exactly what we want to study, how our plan will help us for us to achieve the skills that we need to go back and make the developmental impact. So applicants for a PhD, we are not interested in that. Okay, let's look at personal statement. And it says that your personal statement is your opportunity to give the selection panel a sense of who you are and why you want to be a Commonwealth scholar. So it should summarize the ways in which your personal background has encouraged you to want to make an impact in your home country. So it's time for you to let them know who you are and what you can offer when you are given the scholarship. And this is what I am interested in. It says that the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship encourages applicants from candidates who have faced significant disadvantages or personal barriers to higher education. That's the more reason why the scholarship exists. It's for you to discuss and mention that you're going through difficult times, and without the scholarship, you will not be able to have the opportunity to study outside of your home country. So in your personal statement, we will be mentioning everything. And it's not that we are going to appear that we are needy and we need they should look at us, they should have pity on us. No, we will tell them that we deserve it based on the essays that we will be writing. So please use your personal statements to summarize the ways in which your personal background has encouraged you to want to make an impact in your home country. So those are some of the important, just searching on Google. Let me see if I can show. So just by searching Commonwealth Shared Scholarships, when I click on apply, it always asks me to choose my country and send me the other list of Commonwealth. And so you need to go to this website instead. So Commonwealth, so check the web address. So cscuk.fcdo.gov.uk and then scholarships. So once you navigate, there are several scholarships. So let's say when you go to this main page, click on the, let me see. Yeah, you go down here and then you go to the Shared Master Scholarship. So this will be the main page for Commonwealth scholarships. Every scholarship offered by the Commonwealth, it can be found here. So these are several scholarships that is offered by the Commonwealth. So Masters, Shared Masters, Distance, Split Site PhD, Professional Fellowships, PhDs, and then High Income PhDs. So click on the Shared Scholarships and then read more. And once you click on read more, it will take you here. And this is the main application site for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarships. Yeah, so you click on the apply, or you go to how to apply, and then you go to the online. So either you go to the overview, go to how to apply, and then you come to the online application system, or you just go ahead and select the apply button top there. So let me open my portal that I've created. And so here you click on, it will ask you if you are making a new application for this scholarship. It will ask you to type in the country, and then you click on next. And so because I've already created an account for this scholarship, that is why you have my details in there. But if this is your first time, then you have to click on new user. So let me open that. So once you click on new user, it will ask you to fill in these details, and then you submit. Once you submit, your account will be created for you. Then you can go about your application. So let me open mine, and then so this is for study purposes, and so I created this account so that we can use that to study. So when you open, so logged in as is showing I've logged in. So choose the CSE theme. So the theme that we looked at, the 6. So I have selected this one, strengthening health systems and capacity, as my theme that I have selected. And then choose the specific course or the university for strengthening health systems and capacity. And I've selected the University of Warwick, MPH, Public Health, just for the purpose of this session. So you go on next, and then it will give you candidate's ID. So this ID will be all that you need throughout your application process. So it will tell you you've registered with this email. So is this your email? You click on next. And this will be the next portal that will open for you. So eligibility and due diligence. You read on all of this information. So by September, you must hold either a first university degree of at least an upper second and other. This information, we've already looked at it. And so your personal information will be used to conduct necessary due diligence and all that. So you just read this and then you accept. Do you meet the academic eligibility criteria and agree to the due diligence checks? Click on yes, and then you go on next. So if you have already completed this, so this will ask you your title, your name, your surname, your address. So these are just biographical data. You can just type in everything you need, your country, and then your phone number, you type it in there as well. And so they'll ask you if your permanent address is different from that you've given above, you need to type in another address and then complete that. And then you choose your nationality, and then if you have a dual citizenship, then you select that as well. And then date of birth, you select your date of birth, and then these are all for the purpose of this discussion. None of this information are entirely true. And then select your gender, and then you move on to the next one. So are you currently registered for university qualification? If yes, then they will ask you to fill in some documentation. If no, then they will also ask you to fill in some documentation. So they are now highlighting or letting us know that the deadline is around 12th of December, 4 p.m. So when you click on no, they'll ask you to provide all of these documentation: institution name, the current university that you are in, and then the country, the subject that you're studying, and when you started the course, to which particular year that you finished, and the qualifications award. Have you gained the scholarship already? Is it a BSc? Is it a BM? Is it... So all of these, is it a BES? Is it a BA? So you select which one that applies to you, and then the class that you got. If you got first class, and then you select the distinction. If you got a second class upper, you select the merit. And then you select the date the award was given to you, because they're going to compare the dates that you've stated, and then there is an option, or there is a section where you're going to submit your transcript and then your certificate. So make sure that you have it as exactly it is on your certificate. Now, university education outside your home country, if you've studied outside your home country, then you state it here. So let me go back and then say that yes, are you currently registered for university qualification? And then that they will also give you the option for you to type in something. So let's say I'm studying at K University at the moment, and then it is in Ghana. What subject are you studying? I'm studying nursing. Then what qualification are you looking to gain? I'm looking at getting a BSc. Yeah, I'm looking at getting a BSc. And then what date? So any date, when did you complete that? So have you previously obtained a university qualification? Yes. And then you move on. So academic records, enter up to 5 university qualifications. So if you have more than 1 university qualification, then you are allowed to go ahead. So in a situation you finished in September, but the ceremony was in March the next year, what do you input for the year awarded? So for the year awarded, look at the date on your certificate. Look at the date on your certificate, because most of the universities uses the day that your graduation will take place on your date of completion. Normally they will not give you the date that you completed. However, if you do not have the certificate already, you can still use the date of completion, because they are going to look at it in your transcripts as well. So that should not let you lose the scholarship, no, in any way. And so we are asked to fill out all of this. I'm not sure I'm ready to fill out everything there. So let me go back. So have you previously obtained any? No. And then I'll move on. And so these are the publications that they're asking for you to type in there if you've got any qualification. If you've got any publication, I do not have any publication, and so that I will leave it blank. This is not going to go against you in any way. I know several candidates who didn't get, or who got the scholarship without publications. But if you have the publication, that's also a plus. Because when we were looking at the grades on how they're going to grade you, they said that it is just a secondary indicator. It is not a primary indicator. So for the academic distinctions and prizes that you've got, you can just type in when you were best student and then the year, maybe outstanding student and a year. If you have any of these certificates to show for, then you can just type them in here. If you do not have any prizes and all that, then that is also fine. You can go ahead and move on to the next. And then current employment, if you are currently working, if you are doing your national service, just as it was asked earlier, you select the sector that you are working in, whether it's a non-governmental organization, whether it's academic or higher education. You just select your sector, and then the area, you just go ahead and select the area, whether it's administrative, whether it's education. You go ahead and you select any of them, manufacturing and all that. And then employment, you state employer name, you go ahead and you type it, job title, that's an official date from when did you start, when did you complete. And so if it's going to be your rotation or your service, you just type in the name of the facility that you're doing your service and then the job title. Whether you are nurse intern, you just type it in there. And then the date from, and then to when you intend to complete the nursing or your service. And then the country. So what are the main duties or your responsibilities? You go ahead and you type it in there. The internships count for employment here. No, at the moment. No, internships do not count. However, if there is any other option for you to add internships, then you can also include internships. And don't forget that if the internship is more related to the specific course, then it is ideal for you to indicate it there. Because you are doing everything to prove to them that although you had your normal studies, you went above and beyond just to get this specific skill on the side. So you can fill in the national service one, but if there's any room for you to add it as well, okay, so there's an option, add a second employment. You can go ahead and add it. But if there is none, it's not going to take anything from your application. I've indicated there is none. And then next one. So we will only request references from those referees stated on your application if you are named as a reserve candidate or are nominated to the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. Note that some universities may require the references separately. Please refer to. So this is one thing that we need to know as well. We will only request references from those referees stated on your application if you are named as a reserve candidate or nominated to the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. In next year, when you've done your application, once you see that there is an email requesting for reference, that means that you have been selected or you have been nominated by the Commonwealth Shared Scholarships, and so they want to just read your reference to make sure that they are giving the award to the right candidate. And so that is where your referees, what they are going to say about you, plays a huge role, because you've already checked all the list, and now they want to confirm that indeed your referees, they do know you, and then they can vouch for you anytime that they are being called upon. So, and the reserved candidates and the nominated, for these are two things that we should also note. And that is, reserved candidates, sometimes your submission, you may be facing or you may be challenging against maybe 4 or 5 candidates. And so they will put you on reserve and then put those who they think that they're going to give to them in the first hand, they're going to nominate them. What happens is most of them would either resign or they may either reject 1 or 2 of those, because if you apply for, let's say, 3 or 4 and you are selected for all the 4, you need to reject the 3 and accept 1. And so once they select 1, so my network was bad, so I didn't catch you from the beginning about the reference, but does it mean that you do not need references for the applicants? So you would have to write the referee's name and then their email address, their job roles, which we are going to look at. However, they are not going to contact them until you have been selected or you have been nominated for the scholarship. So that's the good thing about, or that's the good part of this scholarship application. They will only contact them when you have been nominated or you've been put on reserve for the scholarship. And so, like I was saying, candidates can apply for 3 or 4, but they will have to accept only 1. So when they accept the 1, it means that the 3 or the 4 that they were selected for, they were nominated for, it will be given to the next candidates in line. So that is when you will also have the opportunity to get the scholarship. And for myself, I think I had 4 nominations, and so I only accepted 1, and then the 3, it was given to other candidates as well. I know others who also were nominated for 2, and some others were nominated for 1 and put on reserve for the other. So that's how those dynamics works. And so referee, you need to type in the name of your referee. These are all for study purposes. They are not right names of people. And then their job roles, you put it in there, and then their email address. Also, ensure that you are using the occupational email, organizational email of these referees. They would want to accept emails from organization, not from gmail.com, yahoo.com. They think that anyone can create these kind of emails and then submit any kind of references. So they would want to see the one from your organization, your referees organization. So those are some of the things that you need to also consider as well. Sorry about that. Let's go back to it. So you repeat the email, and then referee relationship to you is the person your tutor, is the person your supervisor. And so you go ahead and you write, you type in these details of your referees, and it should be 3 of the referees. And if possible, one of these referees should be from your should be within your current working environment. So it can be your employer, it can be your immediate supervisor or your line manager. So that is that for your referees. So just as I was saying, there are several videos on my YouTube channel discussing how to go about with referees. And if you need to maybe write a particular way for them to know, because when they ask for the referees to send in the references, they will give them a template of what they are asking for. And so it should be someone who is ready to adapt, not someone who will just send in 5 lines. A general reference will not guarantee your success. So the development impact. So this is where we discuss the S's. This is where we discuss the S's. So they'll ask you to select up to 3 sustainable development goals that relate to your future development impact, starting with the most relevant. So you'll be asked to select 3 of the themes that we've looked at. So first one, I've selected good health and well-being. Next one, I've selected quality education. And then the other one I've selected reduced inequalities. So you can play with it anyhow you want it, but ensure that at least they relate to your future development impact. And you should select the one that is most relevant. So now we're back to the first one. It says Commonwealth Scholarships in the UK funded by the UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. So that's the full meaning of FCDO. An important selection criterion is the potential contribution that will make an international development if you are awarded a scholarship. So once you're awarded a scholarship, they want you to contribute to the UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office's impact, or the activities that they are currently carrying out in most of the Commonwealth countries. So they are asking you to provide a development impact statement in 4 parts. And this is the first one. How your proposed study relates to A, the development issues at the global, national, and local level, and then development issues connected to your chosen Commonwealth Shared Scholarship or Commission theme and the wider sector. So for this, what you are looking at is, first look at the Sustainable Development Goals. So the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission, they are always about the Sustainable Development Goals, because those are the things that they are using in impacting all the developmental projects in all the Commonwealth countries. So first of all, visit the Sustainable Development Goals and look at how the Sustainable Development Goals in the global level is affecting a problem within your community. So for instance, it can be maybe an identified problem that you've seen will be maybe maternal mortality or infant mortality, or maybe oil spillage. And that is happening within your local level. How is that contributing to the national problem? And how is that affecting the global level or crisis? So now it's up to you for you to have an extensive just brainstorm and write out a lot of things that you can't be drafting these essays about. So developmental issues at the global level, national and local level. So an example that one of the candidates discussed was maternal mortality. And then they started by saying that with the Sustainable Development Goals, they've seen that maternal mortality is one of the things that is considered in the Sustainable Development Goals, the third one. So the third Sustainable Development Goal, I think that is good health. And so they've identified that maternal mortality can be classified under the third Sustainable Development Goal. And now they go on to mention that its current country is facing a major challenge in the health sector. And that is affecting, or that is contributing to the maternal mortality rate in the local community. And after discussing that, the candidate goes on to say that the maternal mortality, they've identified teenage pregnancy to be one of the major causes to the maternal mortality. And once the candidate is discussing all of these things, they are using some statistics, especially from the World Health Organization and any credible sources, to back this discussion. So ensure that you identify a local problem and then see how that problem is now contributing to the national level and how that is also relating to the Sustainable Development Goals globally. I hope that makes sense. Anyone give me a thumbs up if you are following or if you understood this scenario, because this will be the basis for our discussion and the essays to continue. So first of all, you've identified a problem within your local community. You've seen how that problem is contributing to the national and how that is also part of the Sustainable Development Goals in general. And then this candidate goes on to mention what specific community problem that they've come across or they've identified. So the candidate mentions that he worked in this community as an intern over this certain period, and now within those periods, identify that there is higher rate of teenage pregnancies in that community. And now started recording the excesses of maternal mortality rate within that hospital or within that community. And from this is what they are now indicating to contribute to reducing the teenage pregnancy, which is going to contribute to reducing maternal mortality. And that is also going to reflect in the Global Sustainable Development Goal. And so yours can be maybe water pollution or illegal mining. How is that affecting your immediate community? And how is that affecting your national goal of maybe providing good water to everyone for livestock and also for crops? How can you identify that in one of the Sustainable Development Goals? So this is how to think about it generally. And so once you were in that community, or once this candidate was in that community, the candidate started a project by trying to educate or trying to create maybe seminar or workshop sessions or conferences to educate teenagers on how to go about with safe sexual practices. So that is the least contribution that the candidate started doing. And so they've now given an idea of what they've started doing in their little way within the community, although they've gone there to do an internship. However, they've identified a problem within a community, and now they've started something little to contribute to reducing that problem. And so this candidate will now go ahead. So this covers development impact 1, part 1. And now this candidate will now go ahead. So we are now telling a story. That's how your essay should flow. So the next question, how you intend to apply your skills and qualification when you return. You may wish to reference innovation application of knowledge at global, national, to include intended methodologies or implementation strategies. So development impact 2. And don't forget that this essay is only 200 words. The development impact 1 is only 200 words. Always stay within the word count. Anything beyond that, I think you will not even be allowed to write beyond that. So try to always stay within the word count. And then the next one is the development impact 2. So what skills do you intend to acquire? Now, this candidate will now go ahead to mention that is the reason why they intend to study this specific master's, to be able to gain the specific skill to contribute to reducing the teenage pregnancies. So if yours is oil spillage, if yours is illegal mining, the course that you've selected, what specific module and what specific skill or knowledge are you going to acquire from that module or from that course? And that will equip you with all the skills that you need to be able to go back and contribute to reducing that problem or that identified issue in the community. And so you're going to mention how precisely you're going to be using that. So this candidate goes ahead to say that after looking at the course, they've realized that they will gain some leadership and managerial skills to enhance personal and professional characteristics. And what this is going to help the candidate to do will be to actively think creatively and also apply some entrepreneurial skills and lead the agenda for quality health and social services and responses in the community. And so what the candidate is planning to do is to equip themselves with the leadership skills and then the knowledge from the course as a global leader or as a public health practitioner to be able to educate the teenagers within the community on how they can practice safe sexual practices to reduce teenage pregnancies and thereby reducing maternal mortality, contributing to the global sustainable development goal of reducing maternal mortality. I hope that's making sense. And so if you are looking for the skills and then the knowledge that you're going to gain, go ahead to the specific course that you selected. Head over to the specific course page, the website, and then it's going to give you all the things that you will acquire once you are done with that scholarship and once you are done with that course. So the next one, the third question, what do you expect will change in development terms following your studies, including the outcomes that you aim to achieve, and then the time frame for their implementation, and then who the beneficiaries will be. So this is where you mention the outcomes. So mention the main aim. So now you've identified that the teenage pregnancy surge is going high. So the main aim that you intend to do will be to at least reduce the higher rate of teenage pregnancies within that community. So that is the main aim. So what would be your objectives? So maybe objectives would be to begin maybe a project for educating teenage pregnancies within the community, and then see how that will contribute for them having knowledge about sexual practices that is going to reduce the maternal mortality in the long run. And when you are writing about these essays, try to mention the community where the impact is going to be held. And then mention specifics using some statistics if you can. And are you going to be working just alone, or are you going to be working with maybe NGOs or any organization? You mention them as well. And so the time frame, in a short term, what do you intend to do? Maybe right after return, you want to maybe inform the community about what your plans are. And then maybe the community leaders, you plan with them to tell them that this is what you've gained, these are the skills that you've equipped yourself with throughout your masters, and it's time for you to give back to the community. So these are the projected plans of what you intend to do. And so within your first short term, you can go there back, you can go back there to assess the current reports that they have. So when you were leaving, what was the number of people who were teenagers who were maybe suffering or who were maybe dying out as the result of teenage pregnancies? And now, what is the current update? So that will be the basis of what your objectives will be. So you've now gained information. Now, what your impact will be going forward. So your medium term, you're now going to be looking at after 6 to maybe 1 year, you have to maybe come together as a team, have a team that you're going to be moving with to be contributing to these developmental projects going forward. So the beneficiaries, you stated who the beneficiaries are going to be. Teenage pregnancies, so you are looking at teenagers. If it's oil spillage, it's going to be the community that you're going to save them from maybe having some conditions as a result of oil spillage contaminating water bodies, which the community are still benefiting from. So that covers development impact 3. So think about it, brainstorm. What identified problem within your community do you think you can contribute to? And then development impact 4 will be how the impact of your work could be best measured and evidenced. Please use details of indicators. So these are the indicators. So you've mentioned that you're going to be collecting the basic data of what is currently happening within your community. And so the indicators would be that you're looking forward into the future for the next maybe 2 years to measure the impact. And so you've mentioned that you want to reduce maybe teenage pregnancy to, let's say, 10% or 15%. So that will be your indicator. You're going to check it against the objective that you've set. And maybe you also want to do that through educating them for them to also take their study serious. And so maybe you're going to see that there's been an increase in the number of teenagers who have currently gotten into school. And maybe you also want to assess their level of knowledge when it comes to safe sexual practices. So maybe that will also be one of the indicators. So these are all going to be based on your specific identified problems. Indicators or indexes simply means that this is the baseline of what I want to implement. Going forward, this is what I'm going to look after to see that I have implemented or have made any impact from the projected plans that I have. So that covers the first part of development impact essays. Now let's look at the next set of essays. So the next one is proposed study in the UK. So with the proposed study in the UK, the first one is asking, provide a short outline of your proposed study or research. This should be written for an audience that do not have any prior knowledge of the subject and must not be overly technical. So you're speaking to an audience who do not have any information about the course that you intend to do, or they may have little information. So reduce the technicalities that you're going to be using. So list out the course. So I am going to be doing this course. And so these are some of the key modules within the course. Don't forget this 125 words. These are the key modules in this course that I'm going to be doing, and what skills or what knowledge will you gain from these specific key modules, and how would that contribute to the problems that you've identified within your community. So list at least 2 or 3 of these modules and then discuss how they're going to help you to gain the skills that you need. So this one is saying that you should provide a detailed plan of your proposed study. The selection panel will want to understand why you've selected your proposed course and university. So this is what you need to do. Describe clearly why you have chosen your proposed course and university and why you want to undertake this study in the UK. And then so for the first part, Why have you chosen the proposed course? You indicate that maybe this current university, this current course, according to some university rankings. So university rankings are the things that they use to rank universities in this Western world. So QS rankings course is one of the ranking skills, and Times Higher Education ranking is one of those ranking skills as well. There's also teaching excellence framework, and there are several ranking skills that you can use to maybe tell the reason why you've selected the university and also the specific course. So state, using several of these rankings to state that maybe the University of Warwick is ranked higher, or is ranked maybe top 10, top 20 when it comes to universities within the world or in the world. And the specific course you've selected is also ranked maybe the second best within the UK. Maybe they've gained some excellence awards because of their teaching or their university. Be using that to discuss why you've selected the. And don't forget that you are still making connection to what you're going to gain from the course, because you're going to get some knowledge and skills. And so if that university is ranked higher, it means that the knowledge and skills that you're going to gain will be the highest form that you need. And then maybe the reasons why you want to study in the UK could be that the UK speaks English. And so you don't want to find yourself in any other country speaking maybe any language apart from English, which is going to be difficult for you. That's the reason why you are selecting the UK as your study destination. And then the UK is multicultural, and so your cultures and your beliefs will be accepted. So that's the reason why you are selecting that UK to be your study destination. And one of the things you can also mention would be maybe there is this particular professor within your school. And so if you have the interest of joining that professor, or you have the same you have the same research interest of that professor, you can mention that the professor will be the reason why he's joining you to apply for that university. So if I want to apply for 3 schools, would I have to go through the process for all the 3? I'll just have to submit one. So you apply each for each school. So you do 3 separate applications. And so there's no limit to the number of applications you can make for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarships. And that's what counts for all the schools I apply to. Yeah, so you select all the schools, or every school you select, you go ahead and you make one application to. And so it means that if you are going to apply for 5 or 6, you're going to make 6 separate applications for the scholarship. And you're also going to make 6 admissions application to each of the school. I hope that answers your question. And so the next one that we can answer says that what is it that you are looking for in a course and how your chosen course relates to your objectives. Great. So you are looking at the skills that you can gain from the course. So for this, what I will entreat you to do is visit the course specific page, website of the school, and then look at the skills that you intend to gain after completing the course. And then they will list out several of the skills. And now make the connection between the skills that you will gain and how that will contribute to the developmental impact you want to make in your home country. So let's say for this candidate went ahead to select some specific modules, and that they know that the course, after completing the course, they will be able to gain some leadership skills and ability to lead in complex health systems. And so that is what they need to be able to make that impact in your community. And so they seek to encourage students to become effective change agents in global health organizations. And that is what these candidates is interested in, to be able to gain that skill so that when they go back, they will be able to utilize the skill. And so the candidate goes ahead to say that equipping myself with these skills will positively contribute to an effective approach in decreasing the number of teenage pregnancies within that specific community. So always try to make the connection between the skills that you're gaining from the course and how that is going to contribute to the impact that you will be making. And so if there is any dissertation topic, so dissertation mostly will be the last project that you will do once you're about to finish with your master's. And so if there is any specific dissertation topic that you have in mind, you can go ahead and state it. If there is none, then you just leave it that the way, and then you discuss thoroughly the university, the course, and then the skills that you intend to gain and how that is going to reflect in the impact project that you want to do when you go back to your home country. So the next set of essays will be career plan. So the selection panel will want to understand how your proposed study will assist you in your career. So describe the skills that you expect to gain from the scholarship and your career plans once you return home afterwards. So objectives during the award. So within the time that you are doing your studies, that's the 12 months, what skills do you intend to acquire? So some of the skills will be, maybe you want to gain some research skills, you want to gain some research methodology knowledge, you want to gain some research analysis knowledge, you want to be able to gain or equip yourself with cooperation and networking skills, because after you completed your project or you completed your course, you intend to go back to impact within the community. And therefore you need these skills, networking, collaboration, cooperation, to be able to get a lot of people within a team with different backgrounds, different mindsets, for them to be able to work towards a common goal. So you need all of these skills, and these are the skills you can gain during your time of award. Maybe there is an internship project that is attached to your course as well. So you may be gaining some practical skills as well. So these are all things that you can list or you can discuss in there under the objectives during the award. So it can be practical experience, techniques, and methods of research. So maybe some fieldwork opportunities will also improve your networking skills and how you collaborate with others. And so maybe after a return, these skills will make a huge impact on how you're going to go about with improving the identified problem in your community. So maybe you're planning that when you go back, your immediate career plan will be maybe setting up an NGO and then collaborate with some stakeholders, and then you begin with some workshops and then visit the communities to inform them about the intended projects. And then you go ahead to educate maybe community members. So in this one, if we are looking at still the teenage pregnancies, maybe you look at first educating the community leaders for the need for maybe the children education or the child education. So you look forward to using the skills to be able to organize some workshops, some health talks at the community center. And then you're going to need the skills to be able to introduce an innovative idea and to be able to execute all of these plans that you have. So that can go in the objectives during the award. And don't forget intended skills and how that is going to help for you to initiate the development or impact that you need. So career plans in the 5 years following the award. So now you've discussed what skills you need and the immediate things that you can do. So career plans in the 5 years. So in the 5 years, you can look at it in this way, and that is first looking at the short term. So in the short term, what do you plan on doing? So at some of these short term could be that, okay, you want to discuss that community project, you want to introduce the community to the new skills and the knowledge that you have. If it's within your work environment, maybe you want to educate your colleagues about maybe some techniques, some practices that they are not aware of. And then you move on to discuss your workshops, your conferences, and then to know when the conferences and workshops will take place. And then in the next 5 years, you now want to maybe continue to do maybe a PhD. And that PhD will enhance you for you to maybe become an educator, or it will enhance you for you to occupy some certain roles within the field of your career. And so maybe you want to become an effective practice or clinical leader. And so within the next 5 years, these are the skills, or this is what you intend to do. Gain maybe a PhD and maybe find yourself in a top level organization. And so that can be discussed within the within the career plans in the next 5 years. And then for the long-term plan, maybe you want to become the change agent and then represent your country globally or internationally. That is maybe representing, maybe being the head of AU or being working in World Organization, making sure that you're actively participating and making sure all the impacts or the developmental projects that you've laid out will be able to at least help out going forward. And so these are some of the things that you can be using or you can be discussing about for the long-term career plan. So maybe hold office in a top level position, which is going to be great for you to be part of the decision makers. So that covers the long-term plan. So you can mention the year, maybe by 2035, maybe by 2040, this is what I intend to do, making sure that I represent my country in the sub-Saharan African continent, and then try to also link back to what you mentioned earlier about the developmental impact that you want to make. So that covers the long-term plan. Now let's look at the last set of questions, I guess. So that would be your personal development. So apart from your personal development, then we look at the voluntary and leadership skills as the last one, and then we can open up for some questions. So your personal statement, just as it's been stated here, that the CSC encourages applications from candidates who have faced significant disadvantages or personal barriers to higher education. So what you need to do is at least mention the struggles that you've been through, tell your story, have a unique story. Everyone do have a unique story. So it's time for you to share yours as well. Let it be unique such that whoever is reading that will know that although you've gone through all the struggles, but you've been able to come out victorious. So it can happen that maybe you were growing up, there were some financial challenges within your family, and therefore you needed to maybe stay home, assist your family, the farm, maybe do some extra job to be able to support your siblings, or you needed to maybe pause with your education and then allow others of your siblings to be able to go through their studies before you had the opportunity to gather some financial finances to be able to continue yours as well. And so discuss the struggles. If you were supported by your local community, your church, you now mention that, oh, I was supported by my local community, my church supported me in this, and they've helped me for me to come to this level of education. And so maybe now you are also giving back to the community. And if you want or if you need any extra support on writing personal statements, I have personal statements. I've recorded one on my YouTube channel, which is the same name as my TikTok handle, which you can visit and watch other recorded videos. how to prepare a CV, how to write personal statements, everything that you need to be aware of in terms of your academic essays. You can have most of those videos there. So personal statements, you can now discuss your educational and professional background. When you were in your undergraduate studies, did you hold any position? Have you contributed to any project within when you had that position? You need to mention that although you were doing or you're going about with your normal studies, you also had a time to also contribute by being the head of maybe the first 18, being the head of maybe a student representative council. All of these are volunteering activities that can be counted. And that will help you to stand out with any other application. And then you can also mention the significant contributions. If you have contributed to any significant contribution, you can then mention that and expand that as well. And these contributions that I think earlier, there was a question that how can we highlight what we've done if we've not done anything significant. So any significant contribution can stem from staging a conference for let's say 30 people, 20 people, 15 people. Whether you had the opportunity to stand in front of your church to deliver maybe a health seminar, or you went ahead to conduct maybe free screening. These are all significant contributions that you've contributed to the society. So you state that you've met all the needed professional experiences that they need, maybe academic grades that they need, and therefore you are a good candidate for this specific scholarship if they should give you. And so that covers your personal statement. And then the last one will be the voluntary and leadership experience. So apart from your normal job role, have you gone over and beyond your job description and conducted something different? So it can be that just these candidates that we were discussing. So this candidate was supposed to be an intern doing their normal role, but then they went above and beyond to make sure that they are discussing health education with the youth within that community. And so these are some of the things that they would want to see. If you are doing the thing within your normal job role, then that's not something that is any different from what every other person is doing. And so you mentioned when you organized it and what you did and what was the contribution. You discuss, make sure that you are talking about the specifics. So what community did you do that? What kind of result did you get? What were the people who were involved? Make sure you mention all of these things. And so we always say that you have to be using the STAR method when you're talking about leadership. When you're talking about leadership, mention the STAR method. So STAR method is, the S stands for situation. And so what was a specific situation that you needed to intervene? And what was the task that you needed to carry? So it can be that the situation was there is higher teenage pregnancies that is contributing to maternal mortality. What is the task? The task was for you to go ahead and maybe organize conferences and workshops to educate the young ones on teenage pregnancies and safe sexual practices. How did you do that? We went about by first organizing ourselves in these groups. We started this by doing A, B, C, D, and we did that. And what was the result? The result is that when I was leaving this community, the number of teenagers who were getting pregnant, so taking, let's say, 10 out of, 10 total number, 9 out of 10 were pregnant. However, during the time I was about to leave, we recorded a least number of teenage pregnancies within, let's say, the 6 months or the 1 year period I spent in that community, which reduced to, let's say, 4 out of 10 teenagers. So always try to use the STAR method. And so this will be the last one about the essays. Yes, so this option will ask you to just upload your passport, and then your higher education qualifications, and then all the university degree certifications or the certificates that you do have. So the rest is just completing some biographical data. And then once you hit on submit, it means that you finally concluded your scholarship application process for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. So at this point, I will ask if anyone would want to join me to ask any specific question that you have. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. I hope that was useful. And thank you for those who have joined and stayed on all this while that we've been on here. If you have any specific question, I'll be more than happy to, or if you want to also join me so that we have a chat on here. Would anyone be interested to request to join me so that we have a chat? So there's several good stuff when it comes to winning a Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, and I would entreat everyone on here to try and make the application for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship because it's life-changing. It's life-changing. And thank you very much for taking your time out of the busy schedule to show this. I'm glad I could be of help. Maybe going forward, we may come live to spend some time to discuss maybe some challenges we may face with any of the scholarship applications that we will be making. There are some other scholarships at the moment that's currently open, the Erasmus Mundus and then the MasterCard. I'll come back here to see if we can discuss how to go about with the MasterCard and then the Erasmus Mundus. But are there any specific questions, or would anyone be interested to join me for us to have a chat? So after you finish, do you have to leave the UK or you can stay if you have relevant reasons to stay? Okay, so it all depends on you as an applicant. If you have plans of staying, it's going to be dependent on you. However, the Commonwealth Scholarship states that once the 12 months is up, they will give you your ticket for you to return. I know some candidates who have stayed back because of some special reasons, and some also have gotten PhDs that they are currently doing in the UK, and some others be Canada, US, and other countries.